As a driven dentist, you see the world differently. Where some see scarcity, you see abundance. When others want to give up, you keep going. You're building an amazing life of significance. That means you can't rely on ordinary advice from ordinary advisors to get to your goals. You want advice that's going to help maximize your net worth so you can take even better care of the people you love, the causes you care about, and make your dent in the universe. But the fact is, this advice remains hidden because relatively few professionals are well versed in them, and the extremely affluent don't care to let you know about them. Join us as we pull back the curtain to reveal the often hidden advice and strategies used by today's most successful individuals and families. Welcome to Dental Wealth Nation. Here's your host, Tim McNeely.
Hey, super excited to have you here with us. And we have been going through the Billionaire Money Rules. That's right. Through extensive research, we've identified the patterns of thoughts and behaviors that billionaires use to create massive wealth for themselves, the people they love, causes they care about, and really change the world for the better. And these are strategies, these are tactics, these are mindsets that you can use too. And today we are covering rule number 2. And rule number 2 is engaged in enlightened self-interest. And society, they tell you not to do this, right? The world at large tells you don't act in your best interest. But the truth is, it's so important. I want you to think about being on an airplane. And if you're on an airplane and that airplane loses oxygen, some oxygen masks are going to drop from the ceiling. And you've been through the safety briefings. I know you have a gazillion times, right? And what do they tell you to do? Do you put the mask on the person next to you first? Or do you act in enlightened self-interest and put it on yourself so you can help other people? Well, that's what acting in enlightened self-interest is. It's taking care of yourself, because if you build your wealth, then you can take care of the people you love, support the causes you care about, and really make the dent in the universe that you're looking to make. And I love what Bill Gates says, and this is what today is all about. You don't get in life what you deserve. You get what you can negotiate. And so with that, let's dive right in and let's start working through Billionaire Rule Money 2. Engage in enlightened self-interest. And negotiation is really a dialogue. It's a dialogue between you and a counterparty. And in business and life, you want to really arrive at a set of circumstances that's going to be favorable and acceptable for everyone involved. You want to get all the sides to agree. But, however, it's possible for negotiations to actually be more favorable for one side and the other. And in studying the self-made super rich, we find they do this really well. They look for leverage, and we're going to share those strategies with you today. And there really is a 4-step process to negotiation that we found the super rich using, and you can use either. You can use two. And really, first step is you want to determine your criteria for success, not the counterparties. You want to know what your criteria for success is. Some questions you can ask yourself is what does a minimal level of victory look like for you? When can you accept compromise? When won't you accept compromise? Do you have a line in the sand that you will not cross? Is there a minimum level of success that you want from this deal before you will walk away? And knowing where your line of success is, knowing where the line in the sand lies, is going to help you reach a minimum level of success in your negotiations. Step 2 of this process is determine your counterparties' criteria for success. This is so important for you to do too. Is many times someone may go into a negotiation knowing what you want, but you don't know what the person across the table wants. And knowing where your counterparty is drawing that line in the sand, knowing where they won't give up, knowing what their minimal level of success is, so important. And according to the super rich, very few people decide in advance when to call off the negotiation. There's going to be times when it's not an option, but you really wanted to know what your counterparty's limit is. And you want to know why, because that's going to lead you to step 3. You want to find leverage and use it, right? Once you know your counterparty's minimum criteria for success, you can really use that to start finding some leverage. You're going to know their weaknesses. You're going to know what's acceptable to them. You're going to know what's not. And that's going to help bring a position of strength to your negotiation. So you're really going to benefit from the counterparty's needs and wants and their lack of bargaining expertise, because you're going to know where those leverage points in. And then step number 3, you want to negotiate in good faith. This is so important, right? You always want to maintain integrity. And, a lot of times you've been told to look for a win-win. Well, that's not always the case. There only has to be one winner, and the super rich, they want it to be them. Now, that doesn't mean they don't want a favorable outcome for the other side, the person on the other side of the table, but they want there to be a clear winner, and they want it to be them. You can apply this technique also, as you can look for an I win, you, whatever. You want the other party to be happy. You want them to walk away satisfied, but you can walk away the clear winner. That's not a problem at all. And so those are really the rules that we're looking at, right? The rules and the steps for implementation. And with that, let's turn to some guidelines, because in anything, you want some help in guiding you in how to think about this. So what do we know from the super rich? Well, being flexible about your end financial goals is super important, right? The world is going to change, but you want to remember what you're trying to achieve. Going back to step number 1, you want to really know what your number is. What are you trying to achieve? And if you know that, you certainly can be flexible, but you never want to lose sight of your end goal. So guideline number 1, don't burn the counterparty, right? You may be negotiating with someone for the first time. You may be negotiating with them for the 5th or 6th time, but you don't want to burn the counterparty, because if you burn the counterparty, the person across the table from you, they're probably going to tell others what happened and how they were burnt. And that's not going to help you. So even if it's a one-time deal, you want the other side to really walk away feeling good about the deal. And when it comes to the wealth creation impact for you and the things you can think about, is you want to think long-term here. Don't look for quick deals. Don't look for that quick hit. You really want to be pushing forward for long-term financial goals that you want. You do want that other side to be satisfied with the results of the negotiation, so that they're going to come back and they're going to do it again. Once again, you can be the clear winner, but you want them to walk away satisfied. Guideline number 2, and this is one so many of us struggle with: use silence to your advantage, right? Make silence your ally. The self-made super rich, they use silence masterfully. And they will be in a negotiation. Imagine yourself at the table talking with someone, and you go silent. Well, something's going to happen. You're going to want to fill that void, and the other party will start talking. And they're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to want to fill that void with talking, and consequently, it's probably going to weaken their negotiating position. So you can absolutely use silence to your advantage. The wealth creation impact of this: silence is just one of the many tools you will want to master to help you become more adept and accomplish what you want to negotiate. To get great results, you got to stay silent. It's a tactic that can help you maneuver through those negotiations. And then lastly, I love guideline number 3 here: never negotiate with yourself. Well, what does this mean, right? Don't negotiation with yourself. So important. And so often you will carry out the negotiations, you'll carry out the conversations in your head. If you're like me, your mind's moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and you'll be playing that chess game. Well, if I say this, the other side will do that, and then I'll do this and they'll do that. Well, you're negotiating with yourself. Don't forget, if you can negotiate with yourself, you wouldn't need that counterparty on the other side of the table with you. So don't presume that you know how the other side's going to respond, right? Don't negotiate with yourself, right? You want to negotiate with the person on the other side of the table with you. So don't presume that you're going to know how the counterparty is going to act, how they're going to feel, what they really want, right? Listen to them. More often than not, if you make assumptions about the other side, you're going to be wrong. Your objective, once again, is to garner bargaining advantage, right? It's to use silence, like we talked about, to your advantage. It's to really know their weaknesses. It's to know what they want, because the more you can garner those advantages, you're going to have a better chance of moving the negotiations in your direction. And with that, that's Billionaire Money Rule number 2. Engage in enlightened self-interest. So tune in next time. We'll dive into rule number 3. And Billionaire Rule, Money 3, is how to put yourself in the line of money. Until next time, I'll see you again on Dental Wealth Nation.
You've been listening to Dental Wealth Nation. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Join us next time as we pull back the curtain to reveal the often hidden advice and strategies used by today's most successful individuals and families, and help maximize your net worth so you can take even better care of the people you love. Till next time, make sure to hit the website at dentalwealthnation.com.